Okay, picture this. It is Tuesday, January 27, 2026.
Right.
If you've been watching the markets for the last, 3 weeks, you're probably feeling a little bit of whiplash.
To say the least, it's been a volatile start to the year.
I mean, we are less than a month in, and the whole story around one specific pharma giant has just completely flipped.
It really has. If you were betting against Novo Nordisk coming into January, you are probably licking your wounds right now.
That's putting it mildly. We're looking at a comeback that just defies the usual laws of market gravity. You have a company that spent all of 2025 at a free fall,
Just shedding value.
looking tired, looking cornered, and now, all of a sudden, in 20 days, they're the hottest trade on Wall Street again.
It's a complete reversal of fortune. You just don't see a large cap company pivot this hard, this fast.
Exactly. We're talking about Novo Nordisk, the heavy hitters behind Wegovy. Today, our mission is to unpack how this company went from losing nearly half its value to entering a new bull market in just 3 weeks.
And it all comes down to a tiny physical object.
A very small pill with some very big implications. So we've got the financial data, we've got prescription tracking from Symphony Health, which frankly look like typos. They're so high in market analysis from Bank of America. We need to figure out, how do they do it?
It's a fascinating case study in friction. It turns out how you get a drug into the body matters just as much as the drug itself.
So let's rewind just a little. We have to set the scene. Before this explosive rally we're seeing now in January 2026, we have to talk about 2025.
We do.
Because 2025 was, to put it mildly, a disaster for Novo Nordisk.
It really was a classic fallen angel scenario. If you were holding that stock in 2025, you felt the pain. The stock tumbled nearly 42% over the year.
42%. That is massive. And you have to remember, this is a company that was the darling of the market just a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. They were synonymous with the GLP-1 enthusiasm.
It felt like they couldn't lose.
Yeah.
So what happened? How does a company with a product that popular drop 42%?
Well, it's the classic story of what happens when you're on top. Everyone comes for you. The source material points to two main headwinds that just battered them in 2025.
Yeah.
First, rivals were making real progress in the weight loss space. They weren't the only game in town anymore.
Right, so that monopoly premium just started to evaporate.
Exactly. And second, and this is maybe more dangerous for the bottom line, was the emergence of cheaper generic alternatives.
Ah.
When you have a premium product and suddenly there are good enough cheap options, investors get very nervous. Margins get squeezed. The narrative just shifted from unlimited growth to market saturation.
It's amazing how fast that vibe can shift. One minute you're the future of medicine, the next you're fighting off generics.
That's the nature of the beast. And 2025 was definitely a bear market for Novo Nordisk. The assumption on the street was that the hypergrowth phase was over.
Which brings us to today, January 2026. If 2025 was the crash, 2026 is, well, it's looking like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
It is a very sharp reversal, a V-shaped recovery.
I'm looking at the numbers here, and the stock isn't just creeping back, it's rocketing. Year to date, just in these first 3 weeks, it's up 25%.
25%.
In 3 weeks, that's not a pharma giant number. That sounds like a tech startup.
It's exceptional. And technically, when you see a rise of 20% or more off a low, that's not just a good month.
That's a new bull market.
That is a new bull market. They have completely shed the conditions of 2025 in less than a month.
That is just wild. So what's behind it? This isn't just random noise. There has to be a specific catalyst.
There is.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because usually a 25% rally means a brand new molecule, right? A cure for something.
A whole new discovery. But this isn't that.
It's just a format change.
Correct. The primary driver here is the FDA approval of the Wegovy pill, the oral formulation, which happened earlier this month.
The pill. So for years, Wegovy has been an injection. You use the pen, you poke yourself. Now, you can swallow it. Is that really enough to drive this kind of frenzy?
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But you have to look at patient psychology. And that brings us to a very real factor, needle phobia.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I can handle a shot, but I don't like it.
You're not alone. So many people have those unpleasant memories from childhood doctor visits. It creates a real barrier. Even if they want the benefits, the delivery method, the needle, is a deal breaker. It's a friction point.
So the injection was actually capping their total market size.
Precisely. The early GLP-1s were all injections. That's fine for early adopters, but it automatically excludes a massive segment of the population that just will not do needles.
Yeah.
By introducing a pill, Novo Nordisk didn't just change the package, they unlocked a door to millions of potential customers.
He converts never users into immediate users.
Exactly, and that is worth billions.
Okay, let's unpack the actual data here, because this is where the story gets, well, kind of bonkers.
Bonkers is a fair word. Let's look at the expectations versus the reality, because that gap is where the story is.
Right, so Bank of America, they put out an estimate. They said for Novo Nordisk to hit their 2026 sales targets, they need to move about 2,000 prescriptions of this new pill per week.
2,000 a week, that was the benchmark for success. The PAR score.
Okay, keep that number in your head, listeners. 2,000. Now, we have the data from Symphony Health for last week. How many prescriptions for oral Wegovy were actually written?
Written at 2,000.
It was 20,392.
Just let that sink in for a second.
That is 10 times the target. 10 times. And it's quadruple the rate of the week before.
This is what you call a smash hit. When you outperform the major bank estimates by a factor of 10, you are in a completely different league. This explains the stock rally entirely. The market realized it had drastically underestimated how many people were waiting for this.
It's the aha moment. But here's the next question, the one I know investors worry about: cannibalization.
Right. The skeptic's argument: is the pill just stealing customers who are already taking the shot?
Exactly. If I'm on the shot and I switch to the pill, Novo isn't making you money. They might even be losing margin if the pill is more expensive to make.
It's a valid concern. If you're just shuffling your existing users, you aren't growing.
So is that what's happening?
The data suggests no. And this is arguably the most bullish part of the entire report.
Really?
The Symphony Health data indicates that prescriptions for the injectable version are holding steady.
So the shots aren't dropping off?
They're flat, which implies that these 20,000 pill prescriptions are almost entirely new volume.
Wow. So that confirms it. The pill is expanding the total market.
It creates a best of both worlds scenario. You keep your loyal injection users, and you add a massive new layer of pill users on top.
This connects back to what we were saying about accessibility. It's not just about preference, it's about distribution, isn't it?
Yes, the logistics. And this is where the telehealth revolution really comes into play.
The source mentions Amazon Pharmacy and LifeMD specifically.
Yes. The pill format is perfect for telehealth. Think about the friction in the old model.
Walk us through that.
Well, with an injection, there's often more training. A doctor wants to see you in person, show you how to use the pen. You have to go to a physical pharmacy with refrigeration. It feels like a medical procedure.
Right, it's an event you have to plan for.
But a pill is shelf-stable. You can have a consultation on LifeMD from your couch, get it approved, and have Amazon Pharmacy drop it at your door 2 days later.
You never have to step foot in a doctor's office.
Exactly. And for a weight loss drug, that privacy and convenience is a huge selling point. It removes the friction. It converts the experience from medical treatment to something closer to e-commerce.
So we have a product people want because they hate needles, and a way to get it that's easier than ever. It's a perfect storm.
It is, and the company's financials look incredibly robust underneath all this excitement.
Yeah, let's do a quick vibe check on those. Market cap, $212 billion. Not small potatoes.
Not at all. But the number that really jumps out is the gross margin.
81.93%.
That is staggering.
Wait, explain what that actually means. An 81% gross margin.
It means for every dollar of sales, they keep almost 82 cents after the cost of making the product. That is incredibly profitable.
What's a normal margin for, say, a car company?
Maybe in the teens. A grocery store might be 2 or 3%. 82% is software company territory.
That is a war chest.
It is. It gives them massive amounts of cash to reinvest in R&D or just weather storms, like the one they had in 2025. And they pay a dividend.
A yield of 2.75%. So they're profitable, they pay you to hold the stock, and now they're growing like a startup again.
It's a pretty compelling package.
Okay, but let's look forward. Because right now, this 20,000 prescription number, that's just the U.S., right?
That's correct. Currently, the Wegovy pill is only available in the United States.
Only in the U.S.
Oh.
What happens when this goes global?
That is the next catalyst to watch. The source notes that Great Britain's regulator is examining the pill right now.
So the U.K. could be next.
The UK is likely next, but think about all the other regions where the injectable is already legal. Europe, parts of Asia, those are all logical next steps.
If the U.S. alone can generate 20,000 scripts in a week, the global potential just seems massive.
It does. The preference for pills over needles is universal. It's not just Americans who don't like shots.
True. Nobody likes shots. So let's recap this roller coaster. We started with a company that was down and out in 2025, down 42% because of competition.
The party looked like it was over. But innovation in delivery changed the entire narrative.
Enter 2026. The FDA approves the pill. Suddenly, a 25% rally. Prescription numbers hitting 20,000 a week, blowing past the 2,000 target. And proof that it's not hurting their existing business.
And a new telehealth distribution model making it easier than ever to get.
It's a lesson in resilience. For the listener, I think the big takeaway here is how we define innovation.
I agree. We always think it has to be some brand new, complex discovery.
The Nobel Prize-winning chemistry. But here, the molecule was already there. The innovation was simply changing the form factor from a liquid to a solid. It was about how the patient takes it.
It shows that understanding the user experience, the simple fact that people dislike inconvenience, can be just as valuable as the underlying science. Empathy for the user is a competitive advantage.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought, a slightly uncomfortable one. We've been celebrating these massive demand numbers. 20,000 scripts a week, just in the U.S.
A demand shock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the question for you to think about. If the U.S. alone did that in a week, what happens to the supply chain when the rest of the world gets the green light?
That is the big question.
We know manufacturing has been a bottleneck before. And here's the kicker. Oral drugs often require significantly more active ingredient per dose than injections because the stomach breaks so much down.
That's a great point. The biological yield is lower. You need to manufacture more raw material to treat the same number of people.
Exactly. So if the easy version goes global and demand stays at this 10x level, is the infrastructure actually ready for that? Or are we about to see a shortage that makes the previous ones look like a minor blip?
Demand is great for the stock price, but only if you can actually supply the product. That's the real test for them in late 2026.
Something to watch closely. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.